It's the wrap-up.
Welcome to the wrap-up with me, Jamie Russell, and here John Gibbons. How are we doing, mate? You all right?
Yeah, good, all good, mate.
It's been a good few days, hasn't it? Halfway there to get into the Champions League group stages.
Yeah, no, real positive on Tuesday night. I think we all got ourselves into a bit of a state over it, didn't we? Deciding that Hoffenheim were the best team who'd ever played football before, that Liverpool were the worst, and it was going to be a complete disaster. Turns out they're just all right, and Liverpool are mustard. So, yeah, beat them 2-1, job half done and all that cliches.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to concede late on, really.
Yeah, it was, because 2-0, I think we were already, booking time off and thinking about what we wanted to who we wanted to get next round. Makes it a bit trickier, but obviously Liverpool's still massive favourites.
Yeah. And big positives from it. Trent Alexander-Arnold scoring his first goal for us.
Yeah, made up for him. It was nice story, obviously, that the other teammates, egged him on, as Trent said in the interview, to take it. They've obviously seen him taking them in training, nailing them, and so they encouraged him to do it, and, showed his quality, showed his class, and he's got a goal now, and I don't think he'll stop there.
Absolutely, and looking forward to next week then, Crystal Palace at home. Beating us the last 3 times they've been to Anfield, I remember. What are your thoughts on that?
Is it that bad? I mean, I know we haven't got a great record against them. I mean, they on Palace themselves, they do a lot of the things that Liverpool traditionally struggle against. So they're good on the break. They've got pace out wide, and a target man up front. And at the moment, Christian Benteke, who's always had a good record against us. So it's a tough one. But look, it's first game at Anfield. Everyone's going to be positive.
It's like going back, first day back at school, isn't
exactly.
it? We're all excited.
But better. So. I can't wait. I'm not going to worry about Crystal Palace. The atmosphere is going to be brilliant, and I think we're all going to enjoy it, and I think we're all going to enjoy watching this Liverpool side. We're
all looking forward to it a lot. A lot of the talk over the last few days have been whether or not the transfer window should close a couple of days before the season starts potentially. So Robbo and Neil just had a bit of a conversation on that.
Honestly, it's like a rare bit of good sense. It's a rare bit of good sense. The idea that these clubs could get together and just box this off. There's obvious sort of possible negatives around it, but as far as I'm concerned, closing the transfer window before the first game of the season, I just think it'd help everybody.
It'd help football, wouldn't it? It feels like it would help football, because what I don't like about it is that we've ended up talking about transfers and stressing about transfers, and it's quite windy in here. And we should be talking about the actual football by now. We should all know what our squads look like. We should know where we're at, and we should be able to crack on with the actual football. That's the best bit of football. And it seems to me that transfers and talking about transfers and the stress around transfers and the drama of transfers is almost getting up here, and the football's left down here. And I want it back the other way around. And like you say, some people will say, well, if the window's not shut everywhere, then they're almost shooting themselves in the foot. But the very fact that it's even on the table, it seems like the clubs are a bit fed up as well as fans.
I think the clubs are fed up, but I think what it does is it gives you the opportunity to say to those overseas sides, well, this is our deadline, so you've got to work to our deadline. If you don't, and then you can also say that to the players, and the players will understand that. The players aren't stupid and their agents aren't stupid. Yeah. What it means is on the 1st of June, everyone knows that you've got to get your business done in England by August the 12th. That's it, we've sorted it. So therefore, it either gets done by August the 12th or it doesn't. And then if you are a club, you're able to turn around to agents or to players or to overseas sides and say, well, you knew the rules, you knew how we were going to operate. I think in so much of this stuff, we forget that all these things are completely man-made. It's not like the transfer windows. It's been made different all the time. So I think we worry about it all far too much. So this isn't a heated debate. This is 2 men in violent agreement. So we'll let you get back up with the rest of the wrap-up, and hopefully you feel the same way.
Interesting stuff from Robbo and Neil there. Let's move on to Philippe Coutinho. It's really beginning to rumble on a bit now, isn't it? And especially last night with the Barcelona president coming out and saying that they've almost got a deal done for him. I'm not sure what to believe there, really.
Yeah, he said they were close. I think Barcelona are looking for a bit of positive PR at the moment. They've just been beaten twice pretty convincingly by Real Madrid, really, and it's kind of not looking good for them. Obviously, they've lost the best player, well, one of the best players. They've got a few, and so I think it was everything's fine, everything's under control kind of statement, which I don't really believe. As you say, it's rumbling on still. As long as Coutinho's still got this back injury that none of us really believe, and as long as the transfer window's still open, then I think Jurgen Klopp's going to be asked about it every press conference, whether he likes it or not. Asked about it again today. played his cards pretty close to his chest, said there's no news, no one's told me anything's different. And so I think he's trying to distance himself a little bit from it and just say, well, you know, it's an ownership thing, but the owners have said he's not for sale, and that's the stance as far as Jurgen's concerned. It's
very interesting to see how Klopp reacts to this, really, because we were comparing it about to the Sacco situation before in the office, weren't we, and thinking, well, what is it that's been that much different to what Sacco did? And we all know Sacco acted like a bit of a fool at the time, didn't he? And he's done a lot of wrong things, but Coutinho's handed in a transfer request, but he'll still play for us.
You would imagine so. I mean, we'll have to wait and see where this leaves Klopp and Coutinho's relationship. Now, obviously, Jurgen is reported to be very unhappy with the timing of it, really, and what kind of came. I mean, Josh Sexton is writing something on the website at the moment as we speak, so that'll be up hopefully tonight if he gets his finger out. And it's about the managers generally, not just Jurgen Klopp, but how, you know, certain players they make examples of, and certain players they come down quite heavily on, but then there's others that, you know, they let things go. And I think he's using examples of people like Ferguson and Mourinho or other clubs who've been very, very harsh on certain players, but other ones that they've been a bit more relaxed on. I mean, I'd still say Sacco's discrepancies somewhat outweighs Phil's at the moment, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what else Phil's got up his sleeve the next week or so.
Looking ahead to the weekend, off the pitch, there's actually going to be a lot of food banks at Anfield before the Crystal Palace game. So here's Robbo with a little bit more on that.
Okay, so football's back. We're all going to Anfield on Saturday, hopefully to watch Liverpool beat Crystal Palace. But also when you're heading out to the Palace game, I'd just like to do a little appeal really to have a look in your kitchen cupboards. See if you've got any spare tins of beans, tins of soup, tin fish, whatever. Because basically the food banks, the North Liverpool Food Bank, I don't know if you know, they've been for a long time now, fans have been throwing stuff in there basically before every Liverpool home game, and Everton as well. City and Liverpool FC are doing it now as well. And personally, I think it's a fantastic thing because, you know, it's great that we all descend on a certain part of Liverpool, have a good time, watch our football team, have a drink and go home again. But in those very communities that we go to, there's people on the breadline, basically in poverty, people who can't afford to put food on the table. That's where we are in 2017, and I just think it's a nice thing to help those food banks. So if you've never done it before, it's really simple. I've done it myself, and you know, the first time you do anything, you know, a little bit of trepidation, but honestly, it's so easy. Just literally, as I say, go into your cupboard before you head off to the match, grab some food, throw it in a bag, and go down to the food bank vans and give it in. And it's that simple. You know, really nice people. They'll take it off your hands. The rest is up to them. In terms of where it is this season, the club are now back in this scheme. It was a fan thing. It's called Fan Support and Food Banks. Really good to see Liverpool's football club supporting it now. So go down to the family park on Anfield Road, which is where there's all kinds of fun going on for families, as it suggests. There's a van there, and also the new Anfield shop in front of the Cop. There will be a van there too. So really obvious places, right by the ground, not out your way. And like I say, take a bag of food along, drop it in, and you'll be helping people. And just to give a shout to North Liverpool Food Bank, the urgent food items that they're after at the moment: tinned vegetables, rice, fruit juice, coffee, curry and pasta sauce, sugar, custard, cup of soups, noodles and jam. We've all got some of that kicking around in the cupboards, haven't we? So if you can help, please do.
So finally then, it's a busy few days coming up for the Anfield Wrap, isn't it?
As always, building up to the big game at the weekend. First Liverpool home game, and we'll be covering it in every way possible. So we've recorded the Team Talk show, which is our reaction to Jurgen Klopp's press conference and what's going on. That's in the can, but together with that, we're going to be speaking to a Crystal Palace fan and what to expect from the other side. And also I'll be speaking to a few Liverpool fans who are over from overseas, who are here, not normally at the game, just getting their levels of excitement and things like that. So that'll be out the next 24 hours. Obviously the Friday show, which is previewing the other big games in the Premier League this weekend. There'll be AFQ tomorrow, loads and loads going on Tour Player, and obviously straight after the game we'll be doing our after-match reaction show, the Pink as we call it. Straight after, hopefully, a Liverpool win, but win, lose or draw, we'll be there digging deeper on what's happened and giving our instant reaction on what we've just seen. That's all available for Tour Player subscribers, which is £5 a month for loads and loads and loads of hot LFC content from the centre of Liverpool. So get on that. Also, around the match day, we're going to be doing loads on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Snapchat. So make sure you're following us on all those platforms as well, because we'll be giving you the best match day coverage, well, from the stands anyway.